morning, early years, welcome back. Today we are going to look at throwing and catching. Now I've got a variety of objects. I've got a bigger pink ball, so you could use a football or a netball or a basketball or any big ball that you've got. I've got a small ball here, I've got a rounders ball, but again you could use a tennis ball or some sort of bouncy ball. If you haven't got any ball, you can practice this easily with just a pair of socks rolled up into a ball. So lots and lots of options to make it nice and easy. We're going to firstly look at just how we throw in our underarm throw. So first of all, some of you might have seen my previous video on how to do some underarm throwing, so I'm going to recap on that. That we hold the ball in our fingertips, so the palms of our hands are free. Now that's if you've got a small ball. If you're using a bigger ball, okay, you might need to start with it in two hands, or you might have to hold it on your hand because you can't balance it on your fingers. But if you need to use two hands, then that's fine. All we're going to do first is, you can see I've set up two targets with some just carrier bags. You can use whatever you like. They might be cushions, they might be blankets, jumpers. You might have might be able to draw some targets on the floor. Whatever you've got, oh, mine are blown away. Whatever you've got, you can set up. So, and all you're going to do to start with, I'm going to use my small ball, but if you've got if you haven't got a small ball, you've only got a bigger ball, you can use a bigger ball, that's fine. I'm going to stand about 5 paces away from my first target, so further back. I'm going to have 5 or 6 goes. I'm throwing the ball to just see if I can get it to land on one of the targets. I'm going to make sure I have one foot in front of the other, swing my arm back and forward, and then going to sort of want it to go up in the air and drop back down so it lands on one of them. So I'm going to count that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go and do little throw and try and get it to land. So hit that first one the first time. So this time I'm going to try and hit the second one and try and throw it a little bit further away. Okay, and as you can see, it hit it, but it then bounced and rolled off. Have a go at that a few times round. You might want to then try, yours ball might not be as bouncy, it might be a bit softer. So if I use the socks as well as the rounders ball, you'll see the difference because the socks won't bounce like the rounders ball did. So use the rounders ball first. Underarm throw, trying to hit that target. I'm going to use a pair of socks, go for the second one, and it lands more where I threw the ball. So it's just a very, very simple, if I set this up towards you there, one foot in front of the other, just throw to try and hit the target. I'm just going to underarm throw to try and hit. If you've got a bigger ball, so like my pink one here, let's bring the target back a bit so you can see it. Okay, you might need to use two hands. I'm just going to throw. Let's see if you can get it to land on the target. If you can, use one hand. Okay, you're going to have your hand under the ball, one foot in front of the other, swing back and push it forwards towards. Like I said, have 5 or 6 goes at that and see how you get on. If you've got someone at home with you, you might want to practice throwing it towards their feet, or they might be happy to catch it for you so you can practice straight away throwing it at them. We're now going to try throwing and catching the ball. So you might want to use your small ball, your pair of socks, or the bigger ball. I'm going to start with a pair of socks. So all I'm going to do with 2 hands under the pair of socks, I'm going to throw it up and guide it and catch it back in. When I throw it, again, it's in my fingertips. As I catch it, I'm going to bring it in towards me so that I don't drop it. So I'm just going to just small throw up and bring it in. A little throw up, bring it in. I don't throw it miles in front of myself or way up above my head, just a little throw in line with my head and in. Little throw and in. Once I've had 5 or 6 goes with my pair of socks, I'm going to change. I'm going to now use the smaller rounders ball. Okay, for this, I'm only going to throw it with one hand, but I'm still going to catch with 2. And when I go to catch, I'm going to make my hands nice and big so it's got something to fall into. So I put my fingertips, I'm going to throw it up, watch it and catch it back in. That went a bit high that time, so just a little throw and bring it in. Throw and bring it in. So it's still got that one foot in front of the other, a little throw and bring it in. If I'm using the bigger ball, you might need to throw this with two hands. You might struggle throwing up with that one hand to bring in, especially if you've got little hands. So you're going to use two hands. You're just going to throw it up and catch, throw up and catch. And you can see now I'm trying to throw it above my head. So before we were staying in line with our heads, this time throwing it up and catch it. Again, you could use this for the big ball. You can do it with a small ball or a pair of socks, or you could, if you've got all three, you can try it with all three. So have 5 or 6 goes with each object. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Watch that I'm not throwing it too high. Okay, it is staying above, just above my head. So here, and catch it in. Pushing my arm straight up rather than flinging it really hard. I'm just doing a little throw and catch. Little throw and catch. Watch it as it comes back down. Throw it up and catch it back into your hands. So it's nice and easy, okay? Try first just those small ones. Getting your hands underneath. If you're struggling with a ball, a pair of socks is really good because firstly it's really soft to catch, but also it's quite light. Okay, so you can really watch it back into your hand and it doesn't come back down really quickly. It takes a little bit longer, so a pair of socks is really, really good. So for this next one, you will need something smaller. So if you've only got a big ball like a football or something, this is the time to go and get a pair of socks that's rolled up. Or you can just use like a tennis ball or a bouncy ball or even an apple or an orange. If you're using an apple or an orange, I suggest you make sure you really focus on the catching of it. I'm going to start with my pair of socks, and we're going to try this time throw and catch with one hand. Okay, so I'm going to take my feet from one in front of the other to side by side and slightly bend my knees. I'm going to practice throwing it with my right hand and catching it with my right hand, because this is my stronger hand. So whichever hand you hold a pencil with, start with that hand. It might be your left, or it might be your right, or you might be able to do it with both, and then you can just choose. So first thing I'm going to do is just a small throw up and catch it back down. As I catch it, notice that I bring it in nice and close so that if it falls, I can hold it against me. So I have that little bend in my knees. I'm just going to do a really small throw up, catch and bring it. Throw up, catch and bring it. If that's easy, you can move on and try and do it with the rounders ball, tennis ball, bounce ball, whatever you've got. You throw up and catch it in. Bring it straight in. Throw up and in. I'm going to have 5 or 6 goes at this. So I'm going to have 5 goes with the round ball. Ready? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Notice how it's only just going above the head height. I'm not throwing it as high up in the air as I can, just small so you can time the throw and then the catch. You're then going to swap to your weaker hand. So again, I would then start with the pair of socks and you're just going to practice the same again, bringing it in. You might find this hand a little bit harder and a bit trickier, okay? So what you can do is put that there and then bring the other one on top of it to help catch it. So throw it up and bring the other one in. Then once you've done that a few times, you're going to try with just that one hand, little throw and catch, little throw and catch. 5 or 6 goes with your pair of socks. Then get your harder ball or apple or whatever you're using. I'm going to do the same again. Throw, catch and bring it in. Throw, catch to bring in. 2, 3, all that went a little bit too far in front. Make sure you're throwing it up. So push it up and in. 4 and 5. If you're not catching it, have a few more goes than that 5 or 6 and just keep going with that stronger hand. If you're really, really struggling, you can throw it up and then catch it in with the 2 and then slowly get in the habit of using the one hand with the other hand coming on top to support to bring it into your body. So you're going to throw it up and bring it in. Okay, have a few goes at that and see how you get on. Remember, do your stronger hand first, so mine's my right, and then your weaker hand. And just practice that throwing and catching to yourself. You might need to even want to practice some of that throwing again on that weaker hand before you do the one-handed catching. We're then going to see if you can do it from one hand to the other. Okay, so again, I'm going to go back to my softer object, so my pair of socks, and I'm going to throw up with my right and catch it with my left. I don't want to throw it really big up in the air. I'm just going to do a little one so it comes above my head and then lands down. And then I'll do the same coming over. Okay, it's that sort of motion. So I've got my feet still side by side, my knees are slightly bent. I'm going to throw it up and catch it and bring it in. Throw it up, catch and bring it in. Remember, see how I'm tucking it straight in to protect it on my body. Throw it up and catch it. Throw it up and catch in. And I watch with my eyes. My head follows the ball or the pair of socks as it goes round. So I throw it up and I catch round. That was a little bit high that time. Up and round. You might want to just do this to start with. Okay, really short little throws to just get yourself used to it in that movement. Once you've had 6 to 8 goes with a pair of socks, so a few more goes this time because it's a little bit harder this one, you then might want to try it with the ball or whatever your object you're using. Again, try and stay small, try not to use any bigger object at the moment because it will make it a little bit harder. I've just had another thought, you could always use a potato as well. Okay, that's a little bit of a fun one to use. So I'm holding the ball, I'm going to throw it up and bring it in. Hold it in my fingertips, push it up and bring it in. As I catch it, it's fully in my hand. As I go to throw, it's in my fingertips. Okay, so hands, my knees are bent, hands are ready, a little throw and bring it in. As you get better at it, you can send it a little bit higher. So I send it up and round. You see it going above my head this time. If I move back, you might better see it a bit better. Up and in, up and in, up and in. Just keep having a go and having a practice. You must really watch with your eyes and your head where that ball's going. If I do this, I can't see, okay? I haven't watched where the ball's gone. So make sure that your eyes are following the ball. Your head will do like a nodding action, up and down, up and down, and following where it goes. Might just be a little one, but my head still turns from side to side. You must remember to bring that ball in nice and close. If you've only got the big ball, it's a little bit harder, okay? So you can still do the same, so I can throw it, and now my hands are that bit bigger, but you can throw it and catch it against you. So I've got one hand here, and then it's against me on this side. I'm gonna do it on the other side, throw it and bring it in. Throw and bring it in. And then you just keep trying it. Watch how my hand reaches up to guide it down on a bigger ball so that I can take control of it nice and quickly. As it comes up, I'm going to bring it in to me. Okay? Push up and bring in. Push up and bring in. All of these are what we call an underarm type of throw because our arm is underneath the ball. Okay? Even if we're pushing it up and over, our hands are still under the ball. We're now going to look at what we call an overarm throw. This you can use a bigger ball or the smaller ball, it doesn't matter at all. You might find it easier with the smaller ball or the pair of socks again because it might be easier for you to hold than it will a bigger ball. I can hold it quite easily in my hand, but you might struggle, so then you can pick up one of the smaller balls. I'm going to start by picking up my socks or my rounders ball, and again I need to set out a target. So I'm going to take one of my bags or whatever you were using. I'm going to lay down my target, and this time I've only got one target because I need to go a bit further away. So when I'm doing an overarm throw, that means that I want to throw the ball a lot further than I do if I'm doing an underarm throw. So I'm going to take about 10 steps away. If you've got a marker, you might want to put something down where you walked back to. Because I've got a pair of socks and a ball, I'm going to put my pair of socks down to start with because I'm going to throw the ball. So from my target, I'm going to count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You should just be able to see me. I'm going to come forward a couple so you can see me properly. I'm going to have one foot in front of the other. So my hand that's got the ball in, it's the opposite foot. So I've got my right hand with the ball, my left foot forward. And I'm going to start with my arm up behind my head. I've put my socks down so I can come back and show you a bit closer. So I have one foot in front of the other and my arm is up behind. If I'm side on, it's here. My elbow is in line with my shoulder, But again, it's only my fingertips holding the ball, not holding it like this, okay? Just your fingertips. I'm going to go from here. From this point, you're going to bring the ball past your head and push forwards. Okay, I'm not coming up and over. I'm going to come past my head and forwards. So if you just watch, if I stand here and I'm going to throw, I'm going to use this hand, my other one to aim where I want it to go. Slight bend in my knees. I'm going to twist and I'm going to push. My hand ends up in the sky slightly so that the ball goes up. But then going to try again a couple of times round, and then you might want to aim at the target. So I've already set my target up. I've got my marker set up here. Stand with one foot in front of the other, my arm behind. I'm just going to aim and push. Ooh, the ball went past the screen. I can use my socks this time because I've got another object. If you've got a couple of balls, you could line them up here. Aim here and then go push up, and that landed on handle. So you can see with an overarm throw, it's going to go a lot further. Now there's a few other options that we can do with this, and I'm going to now get you to find if you can, a blank bit of wall. If not, if you've got a sibling or a parent, they might stand and they might catch for you while you practice that one foot in front of the other and you twist. Okay, so I'll remind you that I've got the ball in my hand, I've got one foot in front of the other, and I'm going to aim with this arm and I twist my shoulders. My feet stay still, okay, and it's my shoulders that are going to twist. Maybe before you even throw the ball, practice looking forward, twist and send. Come back, elbow high, don't let that elbow drop here. Elbow nice and high, twist and send. Okay, so we're now going to go and look at how to aim against something. Like I said just a moment ago, that it can either be at a wall. If it's at a wall, just check with the parent first that you're allowed to throw it at that wall, on the side of a garage or somewhere without any windows. Or find a parent or a sibling that will stand there and catch the ball for you. Okay, as you can now see, I've moved so that I've got a nice flat wall with no windows. I'm going to now practice throwing this ball overarm at the wall. Ideally, you'll want to use a bouncy ball this time so that it bounces back at you. So something like a tennis ball or a football or a netball or any rubbery ball like this, or if you've just got a normal bouncy ball. If you were using a piece of fruit before, like an apple or an orange or potato, I don't suggest you go and throw that at the wall, but find someone that can catch that for you and they can throw it back, and then you can practice your throwing and your catching all in one. I'm going to aim to start with, you might be able to see, at this white patch here, okay? Make sure you set yourself far enough away, so again, about a good 6 to 8 paces. I'm going to be standing just to the edge, so you should be able to see me on the camera, so I'll be a little bit closer than you will. And remember, we still want that one foot in front of the other. Same as last time, it's your opposite foot to your throwing hand, and we're releasing it from behind our heads and we come through the side. Now, I want you to practice this on both sides, so we'll try it on with both hands, from our left and our right if we can. I'm going to start off with my left so that you guys can see it a little bit better. So I start off with one foot in front of the other, the ball behind my head. I'm going to point out with my other arm, and I'm going to push and then catch. Went a little bit higher that time, that doesn't matter. I want to aim roughly at that white spot, so it's here. I'm going to push and catch. It's still going high, so I'm going to take a little step back. Okay, ball's behind, there, and that was it, and then I can catch it. I have 5 or 6 goes with this arm. And then we'll swap hands, okay? Now, it depends on your wall. It might not come straight back at you, but it might well do. Or you might have to go and pick it up each time. But if it does come back, you can practice that catching and bringing it in. I'm going to put one foot in front of the other. I'm going to swap sides, so this arm's here. Hopefully you can see the ball behind my head. And push and bring it into here. and bring it in. Here and bring it in. Have a few goes at this. Like I say, please make sure there's no windows near the bit of wall that you're doing it. There might be a garage door that you can do it on. Just ask a parent first, or ask a brother or sister or a parent to stand and catch the ball while you practice, so that you're 1 foot in front of the other and you can push that ball forwards, and then you're coming from your elbow nice and high in line with your shoulder, and you're going to push it and extend your arm. Notice how my arm's not going up and over, it's coming in past my head. We are now going to do it with some targets. I'm going to show you how to set up some different targets, and we'll have another go. As you can see, I've just set up some different targets on the grass. You can use anything. So here I've got 2 scarves. This here is just some trousers that I folded over the top, lie it down and bring the feet together. I've got a hula hoop, and then I've got a coat that I've just laid nice and flat on the floor. And this you can make into a little game, so you can either play on your own or with a brother or sister or a parent, and you're going to use your different types of throwing. So I've got 3 different balls with me. You might have more, or you might want to do it where you go and collect the ball and you have a certain amount of goes. I'm only going to have 3 goes with the 3 balls, and just see how many of the different items I can get a ball or the socks or the object to land in. Okay, if you've only got 1 item, you could say you're going to have 5 goes and see if you can hit the 5 targets that you might have set out. Or here I've got 5 here, but if you've only got 3 targets, you might try each time to hit all 3 targets. You might not have them set out like I do, you might have one after the other, so each time you're throwing it, you're trying to get that a little bit further. I'm going to do a mixture of throws. Now, this pink ball is a really bouncy ball. As you can see, it'll even bounce on grass. So this one will bounce out of whatever it hits, where the other 2 will probably land in it. If you've got a bouncy one, don't worry if it doesn't stay in there. If you can just get it to, if you can throw it so that it lands in the target, then you will still get the points. You could do it that you have a different amount of points per target, or you could just aim to try and get it in each one. So all I'm going to do is, I've got my 3 objects, I'm going to try and hit 3 different targets with each one. With my smaller ball and my pair of socks, I'm going to do underarm. With the bigger ball, I'll do the overarm throws. Let's start with one of the smaller balls. So I've got the small one, I'm going to go for the furthest away big green hoop. So I have my 1 foot in front of the other, swing back and throw. It lands in and then it bounces out. Next, I've got the pink bounce ball. I'm going to go for an overarm throw into the big one at the side here. It hit the edge, so not quite in the middle. So I'm going to say that one doesn't count. And now I've got my socks. These should just land. I'm going to go for the scarf on the other side closest to you all. So I throw underarm up. Oh, and it just bounced in. You can have as many goes as you like. Set the targets up in lots of different shapes. So you could set them up as a square or a diamond or a triangle, however many targets you've got. Play against other members of the family, or play against yourself and see how many. Or you could time yourself, so you could put a timer on for 3 minutes and see how many times you can get a ball into each target. Make sure you're starting at the same place each time, so you might want to put something on the floor like a book or another pair of socks to just mark where you're starting. Another fun challenge I'm going to get you to do is about our throwing and catching. Okay, you can use any one of your objects. So I've got the socks, the ball, or the big ball. I'm going to use the big ball just because it's quick, easy for you guys to see. And all you're going to do is set your feet out side by side. Now I'm going to stand side on, and what I'm going to do is throw the ball in the air and see if I can turn to face the other side. So I'm going to turn 180 degrees and see if I can catch the ball again. I've got to throw it high above my head so that it gives me time to turn, but I've got to keep my eye on the ball as well. Okay, so you don't want to throw it and then look at the floor because you'll lose where the ball's going. So nice soft bend in your knees, hand under the ball, go for it up, go turn around and catch. Watch how my eyes follow the ball, follow it round and catch. Might have to shuffle your feet to catch it. Make sure you're throwing it high enough, so if I move a bit further away, throw it up and round. Watch how I throw it slightly behind my head, but don't throw it miles that I'm never going to get it. So aim more to throw it straight up in the air. So I throw it up and round. If that becomes too easy and you want to challenge yourself a little bit harder, you could throw it up and see if you can do a whole circle before you catch it again. So I'm going to have a go. Let's see if I can do it. I'm going to throw it up, follow the ball and catch it facing you. Don't get dizzy if you're doing this. Make sure you have a go, then go the other way around, or have a little rest in between. If you're using a smaller ball, you probably want to throw it with one hand first. Make sure the ball's nice and soft to catch, or the pair of socks. So I'm going to do it again nice and high. I'm going to go all the way around, but I'm going to go to the other way this time. Ready? Throw it up. Ooh. Oh, I missed the catch. Okay, so you can see how tricky it could be. Let's try this time with the pair of socks. It's a bit of a smaller object, so I'm going to throw it with one hand. I throw it up, spin round and catch it. Move those feet nice and quickly. If I do this with the half one, you can throw it up and round. You might want to put some of your jumps in. So you might want to start here, throw it up and jump round to the other side and catch it. However you want to do it. Also, if you've been practicing your balancing, you might want to go onto one foot and practice just your throw and catching. See if you can do it. How many can you do on one foot? Okay, there's that fourth challenge, is standing on one foot. How many? Oh, I'm not very good on this one. On one foot, bend your knee very slightly. Remember that balance position. Throw and catch, throw and catch. See how many you can do. Lots of fun challenges and different ideas for you guys to have a go at this week. Send us in any videos or any photos of you having a go. I hope you enjoy it and have a really good weekend, and we'll see you again on Monday.